Okay, I got to remember apparently to turn on the audio before going on. But thank you, Nissy. Uh, no, Jim is live now, and everyone's over there. Yeah, I found out about that about 2 hours ago. I'm learning. Um, so I'm assuming you can hear me now. Wait for that 20-second delay. That up there. Okay, this is interesting. It shows two people. There are two people who responded, and I know I'm one of them. So, all right. Thank you, Nissy. Um, so, yeah, it's one of those things I found out about Jim Tedesco's live stream about a couple hours ago, and I'm like, hey, everything's, people want to show up. I mean, it's like right now I'm more of learning on how to do everything. So, if no one shows up, at least I could, someone can see it on the repeat if it actually ever is shown. But basically, the highlight hobby tonight is model trains, and as not sure if you were here before, but it was basically right now I'm playing with cameras. So this is what well, not quite half my layout. I could sort of do a sort of a Heath intro, with the train pulling up to the station and all that. This is the other live camera. Basically, everything is set up, and of course, you got to have googly eyes. But I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to, have this all set up properly to, to make it entertaining, I guess. Something where I can actually turn around and, as I say, share the hobbies that make me happy. Right now, I would have to say YouTube is not a hobby. It's just to, turn around and show everything off. And I know there's one thing. I recently just bought this cabinet, and found out it wasn't able to quite hide it behind the backdrop here. So I took a cue from. All right, well, thank you very much, Nissy, and I would assume that people look at the beginning first, because once I go live, there's not a no one's there to begin with, because they don't get they don't get the notification for the YouTube live because it hasn't gone live yet. So as I was saying with the cabinet here, there was it's a cooking history show. Max Miller, tasting history with Max Miller. And when he first started out and all that, he didn't realize that yes, he's a likes Pokemon, and I guess he didn't realize that he had a Pokemon in the background, and it became a characteristic of once a week, he would change out the characters and all that. And I guess it became a thing. Since I'm not able to fully hide this, I decided to, well, put locomotives up instead. And this particular one, I guess, highlight locomotive of the evening. It's a is this one Mantua or Tyco? That's a Mantua. Because well, Tyco is a company that was brought out from Mantua. This is I'm trying to think now. I think this is the mold is considered talked about as Dixie Belle, and it's actually a model of pretty much, from what I understand, is the most famous steam engine in the world. It's a movie queen. It's been everything from trying to think one of the first ones that it was in. Well, it's been on TV. It's been on in movies. Didn't realize I was going to do like a thing about this. But the locomotive is Sierra Nevada number 3. That's what the model is made model after. I think its most recent movie that I'm aware of that it was in was Back to the Future 3. It was the locomotive that was pushing the DeLorean to 88 miles per hour. They did turn around and, basically they turned around and for the crash scene at the end, they actually made I think it was a 1/8 scale model or something like that. The actual locomotive wasn't destroyed. I remember watching it in the movie. It's like, since I know how steam engines run and all that, and they're opening up the firebox, and the fire just didn't look right when they're throwing the stuff in and all that. And then later on, when I found out it was an oil burner, it's like, oh, that explains why the fire looks so high. It wasn't a wood or coal fire. It was a wood oil one. And it was also the locomotive that was featured in the Petticoat Junction, Casey Jones television show, and there were some other ones that it was pretty much been involved in. Well, hello, Ozark. How am I doing this evening? I'm doing pretty well. I'm turning around and playing around with camera settings now. I just recently bought this, and you just missed my describing what the locomotive was. Actually, I was in the middle of describing it when you came on. I actually have 2 of these. This one's set up as Denver and Rio Grande number 3. The other one is, I'm blanking. I think it's set up as Santa Fe. Also, I think with number 3, because, well, number 3 is on the front nameplate, so might as well keep the same number. And I found out recently, actually, I owned this particular, not this specific model, but I had a repaint of this back when I was younger. It was the first locomotive that I bought by myself with my own money back when I was a lot shorter. And I remember it was $10. I forgot exactly where I got, but I do remember it was $10. Spirit of 76. So I'm sort of dating myself on that one because it was brand new in the package. I think somewhere I might still have the tender to it, but doubtful now. But I recently found out that this is not HO scale. It's actually OO scale. Now they made it slightly larger. It explains why things don't, when you put it next to an HO scale locomotive, even a modern one, it just looks odd. But yeah, I got two of these. I have to say the annoying thing is because they're designing it to run around model track and all that. It's that the center drivers are blind, and to increase tractive effort and all that is it also has a rubber tire on there, which you probably cannot see. Yeah. All right, there you go. There's that little black rubber tire. So one of these days, I'm going to see about replacing all the drivers so everything's all metal wheels and all that. Early 60s Tyco Civil War General 404. I had that one. Actually, I have 2.5. One's a working model, which I'm not quite sure if it's in frame. No, it's not in frame. It's over here somewhere. But that's the ever so popular General. That's literally just out of frame. But this is probably the one you're talking about. General shaft drive. One of the things I want to see about doing, I'm not sure how easy it would be, but actually turn around and make it so it's not shaft drive. That's the working one. And the non-working one, or half of one, is this one. As you can see, this is the one that's being used, will be used for parts if something breaks. Because, well, there's not that much there. I think both of those are Mantua. All right. Well, hello there, Heath. Ooh. I could turn around. Hey, Heath, I could sort of turn around and mimic your intro. Yeah, oh well. But I'm playing with different cameras tonight. All right. Well, I thank you for hitting the thumbs up, humanity. Give an extra hug to the girlfriend for me. So, and the interesting thing is that particular locomotive I just had showing. This one right here. I probably can't see my cursor. All right, let's pull back. Not quite sure if you can see it or not, but that is not an American. That is not a 404. That is a 204. It is the Bockler. Let me go grab it. But yeah, this is a 240. It's one of those things of trying to find other wheel arrangements besides American and HO scale is a bit of a challenge. Mostly everything is 404 or it's too modern. Another interesting thing is with the Bockler. Let's see. You notice that this is right here. That is a water pump. And basically this was the last thing that it was converted over to a fire engine, hence why it has a pump on the top, which I just broke off. Well, I have 4 of these, so And the thing about it is with the buckler is it became a fire engine, and I think when they restored it, it's still there. Still with the water pump on it, so it's still set up as a fire engine. Because where the railroad was, it's dry desert, so every now and then they need to put out a fire. And so that's what that particular locomotive is. And it's the only one I've been able to find so far that has a different wheel arrangement than 440. I'm actually, thinking on since I have 4, I'm actually thinking about having one and sort of like, chopping the front off, making it an 040 as a switcher, and going that direction. So, well, for those who are keeping count, I hit 50 subscribers today, which I sort of, no, Heath had apparently just came in, hit the like button, and took off. He's hanging out with his girlfriend, if you read earlier. So yeah, I have. I also think a lot of people are over at Jim Tedesco's live stream right now because I guess he's interviewing somebody. I didn't since I didn't have an up-to-date list of what the schedule is. They said, "Oh, there's no one here at 6:00 Thursday." Nope, apparently there's somebody is. But I'm not sure if that's a constant thing or just this particular day. But I'm still learning on how to do this, so it is what it is. And I was going to go for a topic for skills, and next week have challenges. Today seems to be the challenge. But yeah, but it is at least nice to have you here, Ozark. Now, where exactly are you from? Yeah, that is good for relationships, because not everyone can have a. Oh, I forgot which. It's someone started a model train channel, and it's a husband and wife team. I think he does more of the mechanical stuff, and she does like the buildings and trees and that. I think I could be wrong. They're I don't know. There was something that I didn't quite. Oh, excuse me. I didn't quite mesh with the with who with who they are. Oh, Missouri. All right. I'm in Vermont, southern Vermont, which is, I want to say, at least a good day's journey from Missouri. One of the things I'm planning on is going to Amherst. I haven't actually set up to actually set up like a hotel or something like that, because it is an hour and a half drive, which it's not that bad. But the thing is, if you're walking around all day between 3 buildings and all that, you're probably going to be pretty tuckered out and not going to do that do that for the entire weekend. I'm going to see about maybe contacting the local NRA group and say, They what they do is once a year at Amherst and all that, they actually rent the whole bus and everybody goes on the bus. However, I'm not going to be driving an hour west, turn around and get on a bus that travels 2.5 hours east. My first name is Edward. I'm trying to aim for but I'm trying to go for Mr. Katie because so many people don't understand how it's spelled correctly. It's like Cady. So I mean, the thing is that a lot of people are known by their first names, and so it's like someone says, "Oh, everyone's on Jim's channel." It's like, which Jim? But also, Katie's also a much more well-known name in the model train industry, but it's spelled completely differently wrong or differently. But another thing I'm also playing around with is lights and stuff like that. And right now it's just basically figuring out how to make things work. That's what I'm doing for the sort of the first quarter. And that's what the skills that I'm slowly trying to build up with. Missouri's in the middle of the country. It'd be at least a 2-day drive from Vermont. All right, I'll go for it. I'm right now. I'm not thinking geographically, so it's one of those things that go on like, I'll take your word for it. Missouri is a lot more well known than Vermont, but since moving here, I wound up moving here to Vermont just before what I guess the group is calling the showstopper. And from my understanding, Vermont is, from my understanding, is the last time I checked was still last in number of cases for it. So I guess it's a good thing that I am in this state. And it's a very interesting state. I've always lived near Vermont, but on the New York side. Okay, 2-day drive. I'll go with that. Of course, then again, there's some people I know that might get it under a day. Yeah. But they'll take it as a challenge. It's like, oh, 2 days? Nah, we can do better than that. Yeah, there's my father. My father was a professional truck driver, and we had relatives in Port Arthur, Texas. And there was a story where he left work and drove continuously, drove nonstop to Port Arthur, Texas. It took him 2 days to get there. And this was before the interstate system. So that, we're still trying to scratch our heads going like, wait, how did he get, but and then the thing is, I never really saw him. I never saw him deliberately speed. There was one time that he accidentally went over the speed limit. We had a 1968 Chevy Impala that my father inherited from my great uncle. And the thing is that they drove it once a week to go to the grocery store, which was about a quarter mile away, and that's it. Thing looks showroom new except for the dents on the side of it. where he couldn't see driving into the car. So all there's dents all over the passenger side, and it was a V8 automatic, and the thing had just no power. It's just like you're hitting the gas, and you're like, and it's like, okay. And we wound up seeing my godparents out in Utica, and was getting on the way back. My father always liked using the local roads. He didn't like the interstate. But since we were, we're leaving late and all that, my father's like, all right, well, take the interstate. So we wound up taking I-90. We get into Albany. We're heading up 787 or Interstate 787. My father's going like, why is everyone driving so slow? Because, I mean, he's passing cars right and left. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is everyone going so slow? Then eventually he looks down at the speedometer. He's doing 85, and the car's purring like a kitten because it blew out all the carbon out of it. It's like, no. It's like, okay, now it's running how it's supposed to. That was the only time I saw my father speed. He didn't like doing 56 miles per hour. He was like right to the limit. Although I've heard there was 2 times that he had gone over 100 miles per hour. One, he had no choice because he was a passenger. So that's one of those things of you're the passenger, you're not in control of the vehicle. The second one, well, he didn't really have a second choice on the second one either. He was driving his motorcycle down from Lake George on I-87, and apparently there were some hooligans that decided, oh, well, bump his bumper with a Cadillac. And this was not sure what year it is, but it was definitely I almost want to say a pre-1960s Harley Davidson. I'm trying to think when. Not quite sure. They never really said what the date is, but it was very interesting that they would bump his motorcycle, try to knock him off, which is something that you really don't want to do at 55 miles per hour. So my father turned around and went a little bit faster. They came up behind him again, hit him again. And so he went a little bit faster. And it got to the point where he finally was able to go faster than the Cadillac. And he doesn't know exactly. I think he said he was doing 110 by the time he got to the point where they could not come up and hit him anymore. And he just basically just kept on going until he got to the next exit, got off the next exit, and apparently they found another victim, I guess. But that was the only 2 times my father said he went over 100 miles per hour. I don't think I ever had. Well, except for planes. There was only one time that I was actually interested in figuring out how fast the vehicle I had, but that was a Geo Metro. That was probably doing about 90. But surprisingly very stable. This was that was last century. But yeah, the basically model trains had gotten to be my first hobby because there is a picture somewhere, I don't know where it is, which is unfortunate at this time. Picture that says, Ed's first birthday or first Christmas. And it shows me, jumping up and down, with a Lionel train set running around and etc. And it wasn't until I was older growing like, wait, there's something not right here. I was born in September. I would not have been jumping up and down, standing by myself, jumping up and down at 3 months. So my assumption is that it was, and also the interesting thing is that it was actually sort of kind of confirmed by the model train set, because apparently they only made it 1 year, and that would have been my second Christmas. I still own that set, or most of the set, I should say. The locomotive looks like it's been through World War One, two, and three. I beat the crap out of that. It had a metal chassis, so the motor still works on it. The plastic shell probably could be. I could probably use a new one. And I think I still had the caboose for it. One of the cars and another car had, according to my father, the flatbed that was there had to be used to fix another car, which I still have that car. So technically, I got part of that car. And I also wound up inheriting my uncle's. Not inheriting it, because he's still alive. But when I was younger, I was given his Burlington F7, and because apparently what had happened is that he had the set when he was younger, and somehow the locomotive got separated from the rest of the set, and the rest of the set wound up being thrown in the garbage before I was born. And then after I was born, got this train set and etc. Then all of a sudden, my uncle turned around and he goes, "Hey," he finds it and goes, "Hey, it has a layout. We'll give it to him and all that." And have you seen the list? And no, I have not seen it. So that's something to do later on. Have to turn around and look for your channel and all that. And congratulations on 300 subscribers. Congratulations. So what are your goals for, I guess, the next quarter when it comes to your YouTube channel? O scale. Oh, you started about 8 months ago. Got 800. I guess that's pretty well going ahead, I guess. I'm not quite sure what a good growth curve is. It's, from what I've seen so far, usually it's obviously exponential, but it seems a lot of people wind up hitting the 1,000 subscriber mark around a year. So you're doing 8 months, left 4 to go. There's a good chance that you might hit 1,000 by the end of the year that you started. But so how many people have you been getting Ozark or Bill B? I'm sort of like terrible with names. I'm good with faces. I'm good with names. Just don't ask me to put them together. And I completely forgot what I was I was asking you. Actually, let's try this. All right, I put the Zoom link in the in the chat. So if you want to hop on, be a little bit easier to talk to each other because there's only two of us. And that's another thing is trying to also practice on bringing people up and etc. Yeah, I would have to say I'm sort of more of a model router, or more of a builder. I like building a lot of different things. That's why I put down Happy Valley Hobbies, because I'm more than just a model router. I fix bicycles. I like designing things. I belong to a couple of maker spaces, which it's one unfortunately was started just before the pandemic. So right now they're like, okay, that's understandable. Not everyone has a camera on their computer. And I would have to say dinner's probably more important than I am. So I guess I'll see you later, Bill. And that might be a good idea to, to, I got everything, I got the cameras tested. Ooh, someone else popped in and they left. Or was that Ozark that left? And we have a new person. Do we have a new person? All right. Well, it seems that YouTube only lets me know who's chatting, not necessarily who's here. So, what are you having for? Do you know what you're having for supper, Bill? Starting to remind me of. I started using being someone that uses Zoom when I was helping out Jim Kello in New Tracks Modeling. Sort of the guy that was, seeing who was getting highlighted, somebody that was, if there was any shenanigans, get rid of those people, and finding out ways to increase security. So that's right now where I'm at now. One of the things I was been trying to do was try to, let the, on the community tab say, hey, this, I've changed, but apparently I don't have a community tab, so I'm not quite sure that what happens. All right, that's nice. I think I'm blanking on his name now. The Boville, Ray Boville, I think his name is. I guess he's been doing YouTube videos for over 7 years, and I think he's about where you are. But then again, he says is like, he didn't care about building the channel. It was more important to just let people know what he was doing and making a community. Yeah, because it was a small community. It's a small community. I'm putting myself out there, not necessarily to have a channel, but trying to figure out ways to get re-employed. And the question is that how do you do that? Because there's a lot of times I'm using basically the same formula with the resumes, and now resumes are not even looked at people. They're just scanned in, and you don't see anybody. So I'm trying to do a different, maybe using this as a, hey, this is the fun stuff I could do. Do you have a job that is compatible with my hobbies and all that? Because I do like building things. I do not. I want to say I don't mind doing retail, but my last experience with retail was, but I can quickly tell from your channel is that you do gauge, which my thing is, my apartment is, I want to say my apartment's smaller than some of the layouts I see. My layout itself is only 8 foot long and a foot and a half wide, because that's pretty much all the room I have. In fact, I can show about half of it, and that's what I currently have. I just before the new year wound up actually getting the track operational. Yeah, I would have to say most of the ones that I got are tender drive. Bockler here is one of the few that I have that are not tender drive. If you're not careful, the tender comes off. The interesting thing is I do have two Bocklers that do have tender drives. So ones without tender drives are obviously the more modern ones. But yeah, the water tower. Not sure if you recognize it as the Bars Mills. The station is a Motrac station. Unfortunately, they didn't have the deck that came with it, so I built it, and I wound up using a black tea, thing for it. But I wrote to the company, and they are sending me a correct deck on it, which would have the wood on it, etc., to make it nice looking. I have that's one of the things during this pandemic is playing around with a lot of craftsman kits. I haven't done craftsman kits before, so okay. So right now it's the first call is basically get hungry, because food's coming soon. And Oh, 36 cars per cent. Yeah, and that's it. This I met some very interesting people in the model train community. Uh, it's Heath's fault that I actually am doing this because he says you should start a YouTube channel. It's like, and then after a while, it's like, well, I got the equipment. I did buy some extra stuff and all that, but I might have to buy um, another USB hub because I ran out of USB ports. That and an external drive. Uh, I wound up filming building a trestle from Hunterline, and it's on this drive, but this drive is no longer working. It's like, so I don't know if it's the electronic that connects to the drive or the drive itself that's gone. So I might have to get another get another setup and see which is which. Hopefully it's just electronics because it has a weird. It's got that weird mini USB 3, which I don't know. It might not have the connection might not have survived. But I still have my 027. And there has been times I've been thinking, it's like, should I do an 027 setup? Now with this here, I theoretically could throw the 027 up and have that running around. But one of the things I've found out that I'm more into, well, I want to say it depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm more into operations or just rail fanning. I mean, this is my personal opinion that 027 is more for rail fanning than actual industries. But yeah, there are cameras, PC cameras. I wound up the ones that I got for the live cam here and here. They were sort of like in they were in like the I don't want to say they were in the clearance bin at Staples, and as you can see, this one is you can see it a lot more than the other camera, but you can see the interference on the you can see the interference with the where's the controls? Usually they would have controls on the top here. I do not see them. But yes, it's one of those things of you can see the lines where it's dark, where it says 3 hobby highlights, why, and you can actually see it actually moving up. That's the interference with the lights. You get that with the you unfortunately you do wind up getting that with cheaper cameras. Not quite. Yeah, you can just barely see it on. If you look at the backdrop, you can just barely see that dark stripe slowly going up the rear back. So that's I would have to say that's one of the disadvantages of with the clearance cameras because of that they might not be up to current standards. Well, I thought there was something on the screen. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that's a hole. That's a hole. I have a hole in the backdrop because the way this is it's actually 2 sections. You can actually, if you look above the Mantua General there, Yeah, that's where it separates in half and you turn around and make it into a box. Um, and it's if you look on this one, if you look towards the top, you can just barely see the track of the layout. And well, it's 6:58. Hello, Randall. I'm getting ready to shut down because I know that there's somebody that's starting their own channel. All right, well, see you later, Bill, and hope you like your hamburgers. But yeah, I'm closing down, so I'm not over. Even though there's only two people here, and one's getting ready to go to dinner, so that was the plan, is not to step on anyone's toes deliberately. But apparently, I did not realize that Jim Tedesco was having a live stream at the same time. I found out about maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 hours ago. I forgot exactly which. But yeah, I would have to say, Randy, you caught me right at the end. But as I said, there were some people that popped in and out just to making sure that I was still here. So a lot of people are going to be watching this on the replay. So for those who do watch this on the replay, thank you for coming for this long. They're about to have a new HO locomotive to review soon, and it's a big diesel. Nice. So I'm assuming you're going to keep it, quiet exactly which big diesel it is. I'm assuming it's not a DD40X, I think it was, or what's the other one? There was a U55C, and Alco had a Century. I want to say it's Century 55, something, or 845. All right. See you later, Bill. And as I said, it's now 7:01, so now's the time to stop the stream. So for those who have watched all to the end, thank you for watching. My assumption is if you watched it all the way to the end, that you probably like what I'm doing. So please like. If you watched all 3 shows that I've done and watched them all the way through, then you really like what I'm doing. So please hit subscribe, and we'll go from there. All right. Now there's Tiny Towns TV. Hello. And it seems that I threatened to turn around and turn off the stream, and all of a sudden people are coming. My assumption is that they've stopped. Jim Tedesco has stopped on his. Now we're up to 5. Now back down to 3. So, well, as I said, I'm gonna stop this stream now, and please like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And basically that's what I'm slowly learning of all the different things of what I need to do. Yeah, tiny town. It was basically my plan was just to do for a whole hour. I got on a little bit late, and then 2 hour, well, 2 or 3 hours before I got on, I found out that Jim Tedesco was having a thing and all that. So it's you know oh well, I'm still trying to figure out what's a good time slot for me. I couldn't do Fridays that is originally intended because I found out that uh, there are a couple of things that once the pandemic does die off, uh, liked it and already subscribed. Why, thank you very much, sir. I'm assuming, sir, because that's a good portion of people in this hobby are male. There are outliers of females, but not that many. Nisi was on earlier, so there was a woman on here. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna thank everyone. Thank you for coming. Um, and for my, I guess, outro is what the world needs is more love. Find your passion, add some humor to it, and spread it all over the world. And goodbye. But wait a second, I need to stop the live stream first, then turn off Zoom. We'll try this again.